Hi, I'm Aaron Garcia. Welcome to episode 14 of Conversations with Aaron, show where I interview local artists, garner a few recommendations from them, and highlight their works. Today's guest will be Quinn. Hey, it's Quinn. Hey, what's up, dude? Go in and make yourself cozy. Try not to trip over anything. Oh, okay. All right, all good. I always just feel like someone's gonna stumble and just face plant. All right, well, thank you so much, Quinn, for coming. First thing I want to ask, well, I try to ask all my guests, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm okay. We're getting to the busy part
of school.
And the semester, but it's okay.
What year are you in?
Sophomore.
Sophomore. Okay, and it's spring semester, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Well, you're a filmmaker, right? Is that fair to say? You're a filmmaker, a very great one. And tell me about that. What all does that entail? Are you a director, producer, writer? What all does filmmaker encompass for you?
I mean, I feel like I started obviously doing everything. I feel like most people. I think skill-wise, directing comes easiest, but I really love cinematography, and I'm really passionate about camera work, and I want to learn more about that. But I do think I want to do everything. I love every aspect of filmmaking, whether it's writing it, producing it, directing it.
Damn. Yeah. Man, that's so many questions I want to ask, so many ways it could go. Guess we'll start at the obvious way. Where did that come from? You enjoyed movies as a child? Was it something when you're a teenager or adult? When did that passion for being a filmmaker come?
I don't know if it's necessarily filmmaking, but it's storytelling for me.
Okay.
When I was little, I loved stories. And I was really imaginative. I actually didn't watch a lot of TV because I wasn't allowed to. My mom did not let me watch a lot of TV. I had 4 hours of screen time every day. So I played by myself a lot, and I was really imaginative. I always got told I was a really independent kid. I didn't need anyone else to hang out with and play with me. I would just I would chill by myself. Yeah. But no, I loved telling stories, and I really loved writing. I used to write a lot. And then I started acting, and then in high school I got to take up my first film class, and I was just that's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay, or kind of storytelling, being imaginative, film was the medium that sort of
allowed you to do that. I was I have writing, but I've never been great with my words, and then I had this visual aspect, and it just made sense.
Okay, nice. And I'm curious, what stories were you drawn to as a kid? Because you said you were very imaginative, so was it fantasy?
I loved fairy tales.
Fairy tales?
I used to ask people, I loved the difference of fairy tales too. I used to ask people what your different version of fairy tales is, because I learned that different people heard different fairy tales.
Okay, I'm curious. Would you mind, are there any fairy tales you think you enjoy?
The one that I asked most commonly was about Billy Goat's Gruff, which I do not remember the whole story anymore, but it's about 3 goats trying to cross the bridge, and there's a troll, and they have to trick him to get across.
Oh my.
But also just, I realized for some reason my mom added in Baba Yaga to Hansel and Gretel.
Okay, nice.
But she was good. She wasn't, evil.
Oh,
she was just kind of a neutral character. My mom made her less of a villain.
Did? Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to your mom.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of, your parents, are they, in the realm of film or, art, storytelling?
Not at all.
Sort of thing,
both my parents are social workers.
Nice.
They joke that social work's in my blood, and just helping people. But I think I've been able to turn that into that stories heal people and, help people. So
no, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's always cool, man. I always Denzel Washington has this quote where it's write about what you know and whatnot. And so even if you don't have a film background, I feel social work, that could be something you put in a story and it would be authentic and whatnot.
Okay.
Me, I have no background, so I'm just I'll write about Yoshi or whatever. I have nothing. So that's really great. And you said writing too?
Yeah. I wrote a lot more. I feel like the pandemic, I feel like I lost a lot of that creativity. Triggered. Yeah, no, for real. I feel like I don't know, I just wasn't, I used to come up with stories all the time, and then something happened. But it's been slowly coming back. I think as a filmmaker, I'm suddenly getting more and more ideas and coming up with more ideas for classes, and just outside of class, the things that I want to make.
Okay, great. Well, tell me about your filmmaking. How many filmmaking endeavors? What all have you created? I know we're gonna watch some clips later, some previous works, but what could you tell me a little bit about your experience?
So I was really lucky to go to the high school I did, because it had they had pathways is what they called it. It was almost like a major, so you got to choose from 3, and I chose media tech, which was their film one.
Nice.
So the first year you just learn the basics, how to set up a shot, how to work a camera, and by the end of it you make a short film with a group.
Gotcha.
And then second year is animation. So the first semester, you learn how to animate on After Effects. You learn how to move everything around, draw everything on Photoshop, all of that. And then second semester, you get into pairs and you make a 3-minute animation.
Dang.
I think was the max in one semester. And that was a lot.
Man, I'm trying to think of, like, did my high school have this? I don't even know. I don't even know if After Effects was a thing.
Yeah, no, I was really lucky. And then junior year, the first part was documentaries. And then the second part, I started the animation track for my senior year, but obviously COVID hit. It was 2020. So I ended up, I started doing hand-drawn practicing animation. And then senior year, the idea was I would make a senior thesis.
Okay.
That was a hand-drawn animation, but didn't have the motivation to do it, and I didn't have the story I was passionate enough to tell. So I ended up dropping out of the animation track and going back to the film track.
Okay.
And I had my senior thesis, which would have been this beautiful, very, we had a lot of high tech. We had like these beautiful Blackmagic cinematography cameras that the seniors got to use with a bunch of different lenses and everything. I did not get to use that because it was COVID and I couldn't go check out equipment by the time I needed to go do it. So I filmed it on my iPhone.
Oh, no.
And I was my only crew member, and I had to come up with a story that my parents could act, because that was who I had as my actors.
Dang. So this is spring 2020?
Spring 2021.
Spring 2021.
Spring 2021. Okay. Yeah, and then I came here at UNT. I got into short film club really fast.
Shout out SFC.
Yeah, I was assistant director, so fall of 2021 on Setiquette, which was
shout out to Setiquette.
Short. Yeah, that was fun.
Movie that got picked over my Dreamers, but that's a different controversy. That's awesome.
And then in spring of 2022, I applied again, and I was a director on Jackie.
Which
short
we'll
film
see
club.
clips of later.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and then I've been on other projects, obviously. I'm in the works of a lot of projects right now. Getting back into acting a lot this semester, so I'm excited about that.
I hear you might be a part of this movie called Facelift coming up soon.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
More on that later, folks. But I don't know, so many different pathways or whatever. I mean, well, first off, I always try to ask this like to any artist. So you said like being in high school and secondary school, like you were able to do all this like animation, documentary work. Just your thoughts. Do you feel like being in a scholarly environment shaped like your creativity at all? Like, do you think it helped, like improved? Do you think like it had no effect? Like, and do you think that's a thing?
Wow, I don't know. I feel like I've never thought about that.
That's what this show is for. We ask the hard-hitting questions.
My high school was a middle school, high school, and it was a college prep school. So all of my classes were honors, at least pre-AP, if not AP. We had AP classes we had to take. I was not that good at school. Like I thought I wasn't good at school because of the school I went to. Because the girls who were valedictorian had like 5 point something, GPAs, crazy numbers. But I don't know. I feel like I've never thought about that. I don't know. I think they come with, I think intelligence and creativity come together.
Yeah.
And I think academicness can get in the way if you have a lot of limits on it, but in other terms, I think it can really help that creativity grow.
Yeah.
If it's done correctly. Obviously, I think academic in the way of sitting in a classroom and listening to a lecture, that's not creative. But when the teacher lets you do hands-on projects, that's really, I think, when you learn and what true academics should be. And I think that really heightens creativity.
Yeah, no, definitely, or whatever, because I've always been, the way you phrase it was perfect. Like being good at school is like the more you think about it, like that's so true. Because some people can be good at getting like high grades or and whatnot, but that doesn't necessarily reflect like. And if you're talking about like, I could have sworn I'm pretty sure you're like top 10. You can't fool me to believe otherwise or whatever. Trying to be like, I didn't make good grades. I'm sure you did, but
not at that school.
Oh god.
I was middle of the pack. I graduated with a 3.8. But I blame COVID. I should have had a 4.0. I blame COVID because my junior year grades did not count. The second semester didn't count at all. That was the year I was going to get to that 4.0. But that was not even in the top 10. All the top 10 people had like high 4.0s at least.
Oh, COVID. Yeah. Anywho. But yeah, so with regards to the classes you mentioned, like documentary filmmaking, animation, whatnot, and like tell me about those avenues. Like, did you naturally gravitate towards one? Like, being able to try those is hugely beneficial, I think, because you never really, like me, I didn't, like, for example, like I didn't know I would like documentary filmmaking so much, but having taken documentary classes, I love like that style now, and that's like my entire aesthetic. So tell me about that.
No, for sure. I mean, obviously I chose the animation track originally, and I really loved, I almost went to school for animation, actually, not film. But last second I kind of decided, no, I want to go back to film. But no, yeah, I think trying out documentary is really fun. I think our documentary was not good.
That's all good.
I remember us watching it and being like, ooh, okay, that's a lot harder than I thought it was, but documentaries are definitely something I want to get back into. I think I've always had a passion for helping other people tell their stories I don't necessarily get to, and journalism I've always kind of had a little bit of I've always been looking at it like, that seems interesting, I want to get into that.
Yeah.
But I've never fully actually, got into documentaries. Yeah, and then animation was fun. I think I just realized it was a lot of work.
Yeah, I bet.
It's not always, it doesn't always have as much as the problem solving that film has. And I think I really love that problem solving aspect of being on set and having to be like, okay, how do we fix this problem really fast?
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. You mentioned with regards to documentary filmmaking, the sort of desire you have to like, tell other people's stories. I'm curious, like with film as a whole, as a medium, do you set out to do anything? Do you set out to entertain people, to inform people, to, just spectacle, character study, stories? Is there any one thing like with the medium of film that you look to accomplish?
I think overall, I want to help people connect. I think you do that through sharing people's stories and spreading that empathy and compassion for one another.
Yeah.
I really think it's important too right now with where our world is. I feel like we don't see a lot of that. And I think it's important to tell the stories of people who haven't had that opportunity. Yeah.
Nice.
Or to help tell those, yeah.
Yeah, that's very admirable. I really, definitely, the current state of the world, we need more artists like looking to do that. And I'm just curious, are there any films, like specific films that have like either influenced you, that you really enjoy, that maybe accomplish what you're trying to do? Like any of the above?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I don't know. I haven't thought about that, which is funny because I feel like I should know my inspirations. But as a kid, there are more shows. Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite shows.
Nice.
Legend of Korra too. I think it was able to tell this amazing story in this amazing fantasy world. And they still showed a lot of different characters that you don't often see on TV. Or maybe they are drawn from stereotypes, but then you learn something else about them and you're like, whoa. And I think getting to watch that as a kid, and I love that series, getting to see all those different types of people work together was really empowering and helpful.
I think Avatar: The Last Airbender, I remember when it came out, so I was like 9 or 10, you were probably a baby. And I remember I was like, is that an anime? Like I didn't know what it was or whatever, and it looked really, I regret not getting into it more because the few episodes I did watch were really cool. And then I did see the movie, but that's I guess that's a different story or whatever.
That doesn't exist.
I was like, oh, I've seen the Last Airbender movie, and it's like, but cool. Okay, so the Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, great. And just curious, like, so I know you probably can't think of any films at the moment, but just for my personal cinephile, what's the last movie you saw in theaters?
You're gonna expose me. I don't go to theaters enough. I really want to. I do. I don't know, something about, I have trouble focusing, and so sitting down and watching a movie and having to just like it's gonna be a good movie to keep me engaged that long. I think it might have been Barbarian.
Barbarian? Okay. Which
was a really good film. I really liked it.
Nice.
I'd recommend it if you haven't seen it, but yeah. That was, October.
Yeah, no, that's not too long ago. Okay, well, that's a kind of interesting thing because, as filmmakers, there's the whole, like, theatrical experience versus, like, home experience. What say you? Are you kind of, like, in the middle? Like, do you have a preference?
No, I love the theater experience. I think it's how movies are meant to be watched. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hesitate to say that because you don't know where people are coming from, but I just don't have time for it a lot of the time, or I don't think about it.
It can be a little costly too. So.
Yeah, that as well. So I love going to see theaters. Honestly, I don't watch movies that often.
Yeah. It's all good. You'd be surprised. I actually don't watch that many movies either. And I work at a movie theater, and I'm a filmmaker. It's crazy. But so it's something I kind of constantly wonder and think about, like, the idea of making it in film. Mm-hmm. Does that seem possible? Does that seem doable? Does it seem so far away, like, that it's like, I'm not even thinking about it? Like, do you even think in those terms? Like, how is that for you?
A little bit. It's definitely a worry. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a fear going into school and being like, okay, I'm going to be a film major. I mean, obviously, media arts is other things too, but you learn other skills. But it's definitely scary thinking about pursuing that. But I feel like the more classes I've taken, the more I've learned. I've learned how many different jobs there are out there. You can also work in TV. You can also work in journalism. Needs film people, and there are a lot of different jobs. So I guess I don't think about making it. I just think about one thing at a time.
Yeah. That's very healthy. I could learn a thing or two from that. I'm all like panicking and whatnot. Well, that's pretty good. And am I able to disclose like the city you're from?
Oh yeah.
Austin. Okay, Texas. Nice. A lot of people came out from Austin, like Wes Anderson, I think Owen Wilson, or at least they went to UT. Richard Linklater films like all his movies there or whatever.
UT.
So it's really.
My high school film teacher told me don't go to UT for film.
Oh man.
Because apparently I don't know if that's true, but apparently UT Austin, it's prestigious obviously, but they don't let you touch a film camera until junior year.
Junior year? Oh damn.
Which why do you go to film school if not to build? You go to film school to build a portfolio and make connections.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you can't.
Yeah. UNT, I assume you've made a healthy amount of connections and.
Oh yeah, I feel like I already know most people in the department.
Yeah. It feels like. Again, I graduated, this past semester, and again, I was only at UNT for 3 semesters, so I didn't get to network too much. But when I was graduating, I was, oh my god, I literally know all these things, like people or whatever.
Yeah.
Funny story like that. How has that helped you in your career, connections?
I mean, it's great. Yeah, I've got to DK,
Oh yeah, shout out DK.
I got joined that, and I've met a lot of people, and I've gotten on sets because of that. And just knowing people. I don't know. You just got to talk to people.
Nice.
And then you realize, you walk into class and you're like, oh, I know 5 people already.
Yeah. But
So
then you don't know
fun.
if they know you, so you just awkwardly avoid eye contact.
Yeah, no, I feel like I remember faces really well and names, and I recognize that most people don't. So I don't want to always freak people out and being like, hey. But yeah.
Got you. And you mentioned set. I mean, we'll talk more about this later when we watch your clips, which I'm very excited for. But just being on set, how is that for you? How, I know it sort of varies depending on your role. Like you're an AD or a director and whatnot. How's being on set for you? Is it nerve-wracking? Do you feel like, especially at our level where, sometimes you wear a whole bunch of different hats and whatnot. Describe set life to me, if you may.
I think I definitely kind of hyper-focus when I'm on set, usually. I think it depends what role I'm in, if I'm above the line or below the line.
Ooh, that terminology.
Yeah,
Ooh,
nice.
Nice.
But I don't know. I feel like I haven't had that many experiences on sets with a lot of people yet.
Yeah.
Because I came from doing multiple jobs is how it kind of works in high school, and even in a lot of college shorts too. It's like you're going to be doing multiple jobs to make this work.
Yeah.
But I try to stay focused. I try not to stress out because I definitely am an anxious person.
Yeah. Are there any things that that you could maybe personally say for me myself to be able to function well, I need this on a set, or this needs to be the way it is? Do you have you worked enough to garner at least what you don't like
that yet? I think I think something I love about film once you get into the place is how collaborative it is.
Oh yeah.
I love having a crew. Something I loved about Jackie is I had a crew full of people with ideas, and I wanted them to come to me as the director and be like, hey, I had this idea for this. Can we do it this way, please? Because I love working with people, because one mind can only come up with so much, and when you use everyone on set, ask everyone on set their ideas and you get all those ideas, it really is a group thing.
Yeah.
It's really a group effort, and I think it makes everything better if you're able to work with your crew and your group. And as a director or producer, if you're able to take those ideas and apply them and listen to your crew.
Yeah, and I think that's a very healthy mindset that I think every filmmaker eventually has to learn, because you know, you can be you can think you can like do everything, but like that's really not how film is. I mean, so that's why like the whole auteur theory is something I personally disagree with. Because it's
same.
Right? It's like everybody has the cinematographer and then the editor. People sleep on editor is like the most important part. So I really dig that, dude. Well, thank you so much, Quinn. I mean, for this nice little interview. We were already kind of friends, but I feel closer to you as a result. I know the audience does, and I mean, I think that'll wrap up the first segment. Do you feel like recommending some stuff to the audience now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yay! All right, let's get another piece of paper. All right, cool. All right, bam. I used to do that on the other episodes. I would always go do it. I guess I'll keep doing it. But all right, cool. Well, the way it works is pretty simple. So we'll just go one by one. So I'll start first. We'll go 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. Okay. All right, let's do this. Bam. Like cut me like all bad. But alrighty. Hello, audience of Conversations with Aaron. Quinn and I are now going to recommend 6 things to y'all. And for me, like always, I have 1 movie, 4 songs, and then a piece of life advice. So the very first thing I want to recommend is a movie that I was not expecting to. I didn't even think I was going to watch it, but I did. I absolutely fell in love with it. I love it so much that it's literally one of my all-time favorite movies now. If I made a top 10 list, it's probably in it, or maybe like 11 or 12. That movie is Puss in Boots and The Last Wish. I did not see the first Puss in Boots movie. I know, did not see that. Shrek, I have like a love-hate relationship with. I love the first one. The second one, I really like too, but the sort of pop culture humor like that's infused in the Shrek movies, I never really responded to. But Puss in Boots, going into The Last Wish, I was like, oh, the humor is going to kind of be like this and that. I had like all these preconceived notions. It was nothing like that. It was so fresh. The animation was great. It was like very emotional at parts. I found myself tearing up multiple times throughout it, and just a very well done movie with the incredible antagonist. Very scary, might I add. Like if I was a child, I feel like this is going to be one of those movies where like 15 years from now, kids now are gonna be like, yo, remember Puss in Boots? Like I was traumatized. Like trust me, it's gonna be like that. So an absolutely phenomenal film. Definitely catch it if you haven't. And that's my first recommendation. Quinn, what is yours?
Yeah, I guess it's been out for a while, but I just have to recommend Nope.
Nope,
the
nice,
Jordan
nice.
Peele. Yeah, or it's not new, I guess, anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like it. I was expecting it, but I was very upset it didn't get nominated for, I think, anything Oscar-wise this
again,
year.
the cinematography, I thought that had it in the bag, at least for a nomination.
No, for
so I was
sure.
surprised too.
It's just an amazing movie. I don't want to say a lot about it because if you haven't seen it, what are you doing if you haven't seen it? But I don't want to spoil it. I think it's a movie that the more you sit with, the more you think about, the more amazing it. The more like you're like, whoa, they did that, and that, making all the connections afterward has been really fun.
It's a great film to talk about, and like with someone like
it's so fun to talk about. Yeah.
Just curious, do you like his other movies? Get out.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Peele fan.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice. Well, shout out, check out Nope. It's a great movie, and check it on if you can, like just see it like on the biggest screen imaginable. I know it's on Blu-ray and stuff now, but thank you for that. It's a great film. Cool. My second recommendation is gonna be a song. It is Civil War by Guns N' Roses. Some of my coworkers are like, ew, they hate Guns N' Roses, but I love Guns N' Roses, and something I've implored, I've tried to implore to audiences and people. It's like Guns N' Roses have so many bangers. I know the Holy Trilogy is always Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle, and Paradise City, but like they have just an entire catalog of amazing songs. Among those is Civil War, an absolutely great song. It really shows like just how. I think I've said this many times, like how Axl Rose is a very great lyricist, and as a whole, the entire band, they're just amazing songwriters, dude. Like listening to this, the chorus going into like the breakdown, it's just absolutely amazing. And this is actually a very poignant song. So, Guns N' Roses can be like controversial and whatnot, but this song, I think really kind of shows their true nature. You can say that they're this or that, but I think their music really kind of like helps elevate whatever controversial image they may or may not have. And I don't even know if I'm making sense right now. But yeah, just check out Civil War by Guns N' Roses off of Use Your Illusion 2. An absolutely phenomenal song. And what is your second recommendation, Quinn?
It's going to be a film, one that I think is less known. I don't know. I think a lot of people watched it, but I don't know if a lot of people remembered it when it did come out or anything. The half of it, it was really powerful for me when I watched it. It's a Netflix original, yeah.
Ooh.
So it's on Netflix. It's kind of an indie film. I've heard controversial opinions about it. I thought it was really powerful. When I come in, I think it's a really powerful coming of age film. Buildings
Love
Vermont.
coming of age.
Yeah, I think it has some beautiful messages about the world, especially if you're a young adult or a teenager. Yeah.
The half of it, you said?
The half of it.
Do you know if it's like recent?
It's on Netflix. It came out like 2021, I believe, or 2020.
Cool. We'll
It came out when I was
verify
in
and
high
we'll have
school.
it
Yeah.
pop up, the year will pop up right there. Cool. Yeah, like Netflix, like there's so much stuff on it. I can never like keep up with it. So like people will be
No,
talking
for
about a
sure.
movie and I'm like, bro, I'm still like in 2019 like catching up on Netflix.
No,
nice.
for
So
sure. Yeah.
You said it's a coming
But
of age.
yeah,
movie?
if you need like a coming of age film to cry to,
Man,
I would check it out. I think it's really pretty too. Yeah.
nice. I'll definitely check it out. That reminds me. So I'm nearing my 30s. So I'm like, what would be the equivalent of like a coming of age film, but like for turning 30? Like a midlife crisis film. But okay, cool. Well, thank you for that, man. I'll have to check it out. You know, I think I still have a Netflix account. So yeah, I'll check it out. Thank you for that,
Yeah.
Quinn. Cool. On to our third recommendation. My third recommendation is gonna be another song. It is Heartbeats by Jose Gonzalez. Yeah, never. I mean, because I enjoy heavy music, I enjoy metal and all that, and like so it always surprises me when I fall in love with like an acoustic song. Furthermore, it always surprises me when I like a song that's literally just an acoustic guitar, no drums, no bass, like just a guitar and a guy singing. This is an amazing song, one in which when I listen to it, I so wish I was the one who wrote the song. I have, I'm like at Madison Square Garden or whatever. I have like long hair. For some reason, I'm shirtless and I have like an 8-pack and I'm like performing the song and it's amazing. A beautiful, touching song, and I listened to it at a very poignant time in my life, October 2022, and so it really resonated with me on a much deeper level than had I listened to it at any other point in my life. So I hope it does the same for you, man. It's just a really great, beautiful song, and yeah, do check it out. And Jose Gonzalez, by the way, is a beast. I'm slowly getting into his work. Heartbeats, introduced me to him, and he has a lot of great stuff. So check out Heartbeats, and then further, dive a little deeper into Jose Gonzalez's discography. He's a great performer, and yeah, that's my third recommendation. Quinn, what is yours?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna recommend a musical artist.
That's all good.
Not to be that person, but I feel like a lot of the artists I listen to don't have as much of a platform. I do listen to a lot of indie, so. But yeah, the first one's gonna be Rit Momney, which you might found it is a spoof on Mitt Romney.
Oh, Rip Mommy?
Rit Momney, yeah, I don't know
Rit
if you want
Momney.
to pop it up here.
Oh, we'll write
Spell
it down.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, Sunny Boy, his song, oh man, that one,
Sunny Boy?
Sunny Boy, it's about like growing up too fast, and not like that, but like growing up and like thinking about your kid and like, oh man, it's, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can see the tears swirling.
And Young Adult too is just a beautiful song by him as well.
Nice.
Those two recommend, but the artist.
Yeah, the artist, and then, 2 songs to sort of start.
Yeah, and I didn't know about him until one of my friends like told me about him because he's going to a concert, and I was like, oh wow. And I listened to it, and now I'm like, whoa, this is an amazing artist.
Yeah,
So.
dude, I mean, like, my main music is like indie stuff, or I guess like indie pop. So I don't know if that's necessarily the same, but yeah, my favorite thing is always like finding an artist that no one's heard of, and I'm like, no, but yeah, well, thank you for that. That's great. Yeah, so one more time, it was Rit
Momney.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll have it written so y'all
Yeah.
can, y'all won't see me struggling or whatever. Cool. Thank you so much for that, dude. All right, on to our fourth recommendation. Mine is gonna be another song. It's "Gonna Lose" by Built to Spill. Shout out to Alamo Draft House because one of their pre-shows or like a little preview for I think the month of October or November, this song was playing over. They had it, and yeah, great song. I'd always been vaguely aware of Built to Spill. Like I know they're a band that kind of goes back. Gonna Lose, I believe, is off of like one of their later records, as at least at the time of this recording. And yeah, just a really fun song. The only negative thing about it is that it's too short. It's barely like 2 minutes, and I feel like it could have easily been like 4 or 5. It's just so great. The guitar work, the vocals, it's so fun and dare I say catchy in a strange way. But yeah, a brilliant blend of like rock and I don't know, I guess a slight hint of like poppiness, some indiness. But yeah, great, amazing song, and thank you, Alamo Draft House, for introducing me to it. Yeah, so that's my fourth recommendation. Quinn, what is yours?
Cool. Another artist.
I love these
But
artists.
yeah, it's called Cave Town. They've actually been one person, but they've been my number one artist up until last year on my Spotify Wrapped. That tells you. But yeah, very mellow music. It's really nice. I don't know. It's just really nice to listen to. Again, I don't know if you're someone who listens to lyrics or the music first.
Probably music and then more
Music
listen to
first?
the
Okay.
lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely notice lyrics first
Nice.
because I love to find stories and songs. But Devil Town is a really good one. Meteor Shower by Cave Town. Just anything. I think Lemon Boy is one of their more popular songs.
Nice.
But yeah, so definitely would recommend Cave Town.
Cave Town,
Yeah.
nice. I was like, Nick Cave? Like, what? That's really, yeah. I always make the joke, like, if a song has like a nice like guitar riff or a funky bass line and it's like a song where the lyrics are bashing me, like I'd still be like, yo, this is great though. Like I love it. It's like Aaron sucks, like, but it sounds so good. Well, thank you for that, man. I always love like, new artists, and I haven't heard of like any of these, so I really appreciate it. I'm gonna know what I'm doing tonight. Alright, down to our last two recommendations. My fifth one is gonna be another song. This is Manifest by Forming the Void. Shout out to Austin, my coworker at my job, because they always play music, and he played the song, and I had to like stop in the middle of my tracks while I was doing something, and I went up to him. I was like, "Bro, what is this song called?" And he told me, and I was like, "It is so killer." Like I'm a metal fan, but I'm not the biggest doom metal fan aside from like Volume 4 by Black Sabbath, I guess. Shout out. So like on paper, this isn't really a song that I would like gravitate towards, but this song is just like immaculate. It's freaking amazing. It goes so hard. Like it is. You don't even have to like you don't even have to like music to like dig it. In my humble opinion, it's absolutely great. The guitar work is phenomenal. I say that on all these songs as if I'm a musician. I know what I'm talking about. It's just great, and the vocals when they eventually come in, because it's a slow build up for like 2 minutes until like the vocals come in. But it is like well worth the wait, because when it does, it just like kind of blows you away. It's so epic and doomy, I guess. But yeah, so definitely check this song out, Manifest by Forming the Void, and do it if you're like running or like working out. Like boy, you're gonna like you're gonna like go up like 50 pounds immediately, just like maxing out. But yeah, great song. Check it out. And Quinn, what is your fifth recommendation?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch to books now. Yeah, so I'm gonna recommend Graceling. It's actually a YA book, which I feel like scares away some people for some reason, but it should not. I guess it might be more young adult because it does, or I mean just adult, because it does get darker in some of the later ones. But it's a fantasy book. It has one of my favorite. It's my favorite YA book. Like it's my favorite fantasy book. The series is really cool. It's about this world where people have graces. Set a medieval, obviously fantasy world, but you have graces, and if you do that, you have two different eye colors. Is how you can tell if someone has a grace or not.
Well, what's a grace, by the way?
A grace, yeah, it can be anything. Some people are just amazing cooks. The main character specifically, she is really good at killing people.
Damn,
that is her grace. So she's used as an assassin by this king, and obviously it's, adventure ensues. But yeah.
I love that being a YA novel, like a teenager reading, like, oh, she just like me for real, bro. Like, that's great. Yeah, I like YA novels too, because I don't know. I think they always just tap into like the imagination or whatever. Like, yeah, I see. Like, maybe I'll recommend this in a future episode. But like, Bones and Awe is a movie I really liked, and that was the YA novel. And it's there are a lot of like hidden themes that can be really explored, and so people who like reject them, I don't know. I don't think they're looking at the bigger picture, because then it helps like it's sort of like a gateway to like introducing you to more things. So that's great. Well, thank you for that. I need to read. I haven't read in years, bro. I'm ashamed to, probably a decade almost. It's embarrassing, but thank you for that. And well, we're on to our last recommendation, dude. So we'll go in and finish this segment up. My sixth and final recommendation for this episode 14 episode of Conversations with Aaron is normalize having conversations with people whose opinion differs from yours. Mainly with film, and I know it can get in a little gray area if it's like a broader topic like politics or something, but I'll keep it simple and just stay with film, because like, dude, like it's just like we're all filmmakers. It's so, I don't know, like it's so like to be elitist, like to gatekeep, like I don't know, like, oh man, you don't worship Kubrick or Tarkovsky. What? Oh, you like Aaron likes the first Transformers, which is that's actually one of my top 10 films of all time. Fun fact.
I feel like this is targeted.
Right? That was going so well. But yeah, dude, just I don't. I feel like being able to like articulate your opinion to someone who disagrees with you, and being able to like step away, like, okay, that's fine. I think that actually helps you grow as a filmmaker because, you're respecting artists from all platforms. You could have, you could see someone who's a part of a movie that's bad or not to your liking. That doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad individual or they're not talented. Like, again, going to like a Transformers film, it's like, imagine being a PA on that. Like, oh, you're a part of that garbage. It's like, you're desecrating this entire person's career because of a film you didn't like. Like, that's just the wrong way to do things, I feel. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of films I hate with a passion or whatever, and I'll let people know that. But respect other people's film opinions.
Like the live action Avatar movie.
That's a masterpiece.
I mean the Last Airbender.
But yeah, just if people like something, just like be all right. You don't have to, get upset about it. Just agree to disagree, I guess. And yeah, so just normalize having healthy conversations with people who have differing film opinions than you. Bam. And thank you. And yeah, you want to finish us off? What's your last recommendation?
It's gonna be a book that I'm currently reading, and I have with me.
Got that plug?
I'm almost done. It's short stories. But yeah, also another little recommendation, and it is written by the creator of BoJack Horseman, another great show. How many recs can I sneak into this one episode? Am I right? Anyway, but yeah, it's Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory. I love the cover. I think it's very meaningful. It's a broken egg, and it just is taped over, and it says stories. Yeah, and it's a bunch of short stories. A lot of them are almost surrealist fantasy, so set in our world, but not, or kind of, you think they're set in our world, but then they're not. There's one about a group of superheroes, and they get their power because they're a band, and they were like going to Battle the Band's concert or something, and they were out in the woods, and like electricity struck them. What? But they were drunk when they got their powers, so their powers only work when they're drunk. And like antics ensued, and of course they're a band, so they're dating each other and everything. But yeah, there's another one about like the struggle of like getting married and the stresses of it. And it's this dude, and it's like, oh well, you have to have the goat sacrifices for the stone god. And it's like arguing all about this little thing. So it's really funny. And there's just a lot of really great, touching stories that will kind of rip your heart out. But
dang, nice.
I really recommend it.
How did you get turned on to this book?
I picked it up at Book People. Shout out Book People if you know Austin. But yeah, I saw it on the shelf. I think someone had recommended it, or I just picked it up. I can't remember. It was last May, and I've taken this long to read it.
Now you're recommending it?
Yeah, and it's helpful. It's short stories, so you can just pick it up whenever and read a short story. And that's really helped me because I've also had a reading lull. I used to read a lot more, and it's helped me get back into reading. So
okay, nice. So one more time. So it's
Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory.
As if I have it right here. I'll Photoshop like.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, dude. Well, nice. Yeah. That's an amazing book. And you said the creator of BoJack. So would you recommend BoJack Horseman?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we'll plug a little hee like a number 7. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much. All your recommendations are killer, dude. Again, like my desire for this, like when I have a guest, would be for them to introduce things that I don't know, and I didn't know a single thing that you recommended. So that was awesome. Well, thank you so much, Quinn. Well. That's it. Hope y'all enjoy those 6 recommendations. I think we're going to take a little break right now, but when we come back, we're going to be looking at some of Quinn's works. I hope you're excited about that, dude. I know I am. I know our audience is shaking with excitement. And alrighty, well, stick around, y'all. You won't want to miss it. Boom. And we're back. Thank you so much for sticking around, y'all. All right, well, Quinn's still here. They haven't escaped, so shout out to Quinn. Well, now we're going to look at some of your work. Are you excited for this? Some of your past works, and we're going to look at 4 clips. The first of which is Jasmine.
Quest for Jasmine.
Quest for Jasmine. All right, well, cool. Before we watch the little clip, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so Quest for Jasmine was that animation that I made in sophomore year of high school. So I was 15. Turning 16. Yeah. Nice. Quest for Jasmine. Made it in 1 semester. It was really great. I got to work. Disclaimer, none of the artwork is unfortunately not mine. It's all my friend Amanda. She's a brilliant artist.
Shout out Amanda.
I got really lucky to get to work with her. She's also still one of my good friends. So yeah, shout out Amanda. We just we kind of wanted to mess with our teacher because he told us not to make a romance, and we made a romance. Oh man. We were like, no, we're gonna do what we want.
We're gonna fight the system.
So yeah, but yeah, I did a lot of the animating for it. I voiced Jasmine, and Amanda voiced the other character, Amara. It's a little short animation. It actually, we competed in UIL. It didn't do well. I claim it's because Texas is homophobic and it's a gay love story. But you can have your own opinions, whatever.
Yeah.
It did get into South by, the Texas Teen South by competition. We submitted to that. Unfortunately, it was 2020.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't get to go, but it did technically get in. Yeah.
Hey, do you have like the laurels or however you say the like when you get accepted they like give you the laurels? I think that's what it's, laurels or whatever they're called.
I don't know. I probably have the email somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it got canceled like the week before. I got a full pass to everything film wise.
Damn, bro.
That week, and then it got canceled. So.
Man, another one. We should have an entire episode just like having guests like talk about their COVID experiences, just how it ruined like so many different things. Of course, people obviously died. So this is small on the bigger scale, but man, it's a shame. Well, anywho, doesn't take away from what I think is actually a very great short. So, we can go ahead and check out this clip from Quest for Jasmine. Y'all, let's check this out real quick.
Are you okay? I think you fainted.
Yeah, I just needed to get something.
I guess I'll see you later then.
Wait! Do you maybe, want some tea?
Oh, that's absolute. Okay, so there were two characters, one with like darker hair, and that was you, correct? And then the other one was your friend Amanda. Okay, cool. Well, let's break down the animation itself. I know you said
it's 2D animation.
Yeah.
Computer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, how is that? Because again, like I think a lot of people fail to like watching that. Like some things will just go unnoticed or whatever unless you think about them. Like the shot selection, the Zov and like their little cheeks becoming red. Like that looks kind of hard. Like was it challenging?
So the shots, dissolve, sound effects, that was all post, or what would be considered post in animation, I guess.
Yeah.
Not the actual animation of it. And I did I edited it all together. So I timed all the music, all the sound effects, all the voices, putting the clips together. With animation, it's different because you have to be, you're gonna animate exactly. You need to know every shot, like every cut, every shot, and what you're gonna show. That was actually Jasmine's introduction in it. I think the thing, it is 2D, so we get to rig the character and then you can drag them around and with using keyframes to mark it there that way. But like the little thing, like with the eyes, for that one we actually had to have her draw the different eyes, and then we would have it shrink and slowly, grow as it became her pupil. Any other questions?
Yeah, no, we're just getting started, boy. Like, so with regards to what came first, I know you said it was like for a class. So did the characters come first, the story, like what was like its origin?
Honestly, yeah. So first, my friend and I we were starting to get into D&D,
Nice.
So we took that fantasy aspect from that. That's why. Jasmine, I guess, would be kind of a fighter and knight. It is a fantasy love story. Amara's a witch. She's a love witch, but she's a witch.
Cool. And so Jasmine was the one with like the reddish hair or the dark hair?
The dark hair. Yeah.
Okay.
Jasmine's dark hair, and Amara's the red hair.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was actually Jasmine's introduction in the thing. Amara's trying to go out and get her love potion. I don't know how did we come up with this? This is a while ago. So again, it was wanting to prove our teacher wrong, and that we could make a romance. And if we were gonna make a romance, we were like, we're gonna make it gay. We had too many heterosexual romances out there. You need more queer ones. But yeah, we want to make a romance. We want to do something fantasy element. And then we thought it would be funny. Jasmine's name came from because Amara's missing an ingredient for her potion, and it's like, oh, it's a jasmine flower.
Oh.
So she goes out and she finds her jasmine flower, but she runs into this monster, and Jasmine phased her, and then she finds Jasmine.
Oh yeah, and that's sort of fight scene. Yeah.
So she needed jasmine flowers, and she got
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the basic plot is so Amar, Mariah is going to get the potion, and then gets into the monster because she needs a jasmine flower, and literally gets saved by Jasmine.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I want to talk about like it being like a gay love story, which coming out of my mouth sounds awful, but little things like that. Like I think it's like you have to make like some huge film that grosses $1 million. Like this is a small thing, but like that's still impactful. You being a teenager, like you said at the start, you want to tell people stories. You want to do things like. Even still, like I think that's like so honestly like kind of beautiful that y'all did this. Like, I know again it's like you're just like sticking it to the man, the teacher, but like still like y'all made this. It was natural to y'all to put in here, and then you watch it, and it just feels just like a nice like love story. There's nothing like like dare I say forced about it. It's just like a really solid animation effort. So I think that's great, and I don't know. I think more people can learn from something like this. Like. Just what you like with what you have, just like don't be afraid to just like express yourself. I think that's really great.
No, for sure. I think it just came from us both being queer individuals, and we were just like, in high school we obviously didn't see a lot of it, and I think if you're a minority, when you see something that is your representation, it's just a story about you coming out or your experience and your hardships from being that. But we were like, no, we just want to tell a lesbian love story.
Yeah. It's so great. And again, I mean, I'm not just like blowing smoke up your butt. Like I think it's a really like cute little movie, and I don't mean to say cute as in like oh it's cute. Like I think it's all like I love the animation, all that. It's great. And what was the response like? And I mean, because I know you said the UIL thing, and then
so obviously our whole class made animation shorts, and our class. Not to brag, but I think we were the strongest class ever and still of that school. Of our animations were the best. I think overall as a class. But yeah, there were two of our grade. There were two animations that made it up to like the top because we have a showcase at the end of the semester where they brought in judges and like judges from outside, and then they also had teachers, and our whole class was there, and they invited our families.
Nice. Dang.
And like showed our animations, and yeah, ours was they tied. They rate the top ones, but for us they tied us because they said they couldn't choose.
Nice. Between y'all and like
between us and the other one, I think is called The Big Jump. It was also a really good animation.
Shout out.
Shout out to The Big Jump. Kaya and Kendall. Yeah, I think they were the ones who made that one. That was really cute too. But it was I think a less controversial because ours was obviously a queer love story. And theirs was a really cute thing, but it was about a girl being scared to jump off the diving board.
Oh man, that is scary.
And it was a cute little animation, but there was nothing, I guess, super controversial about it. And so to decide the winner, they sent it to our principal, and our principal just decided The Big Jump was the winner without any second consideration.
That's interesting.
And there are some things open said about that.
Yeah.
I have some opinions about that.
I'm going to read the Wikipedia page about this, like the controversy.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Both of our animations got knocked out of UIL pretty fast, which was surprising. And I think it's because some teacher was letting their students submit animation to the 2D category that were not actually 2D because they hadn't rigged the characters. They were just drawing digitally.
Oh.
So it was hand-drawn, but it was digital. So they were drawing a bunch of the frames. And that's why it looked better, because it'll look different if it's 2D. This type of animation is going to look different from hand-drawn animation.
Yeah. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Cheaters. Anyway, but no, I'm joking. But yeah, so yeah.
Well, nice. And okay, well, cool. So before we move on, because we're going to move into like a completely different medium, like live action, whatnot, using like human performers and whatnot. But I just want to ask, because I do think there's value like in any work that you create, even if it's something that you're like you disregard or you're just kind of like I think there's always something to be taken from. So just currently where you are and going forward, how in any way, if there is, like how has this like does it continue to like influence you, help you, benefit you, having created this? Yeah,
no, I mean right now this is probably my favorite work that I've made so far, but obviously I plan to make a lot more, and even something I'm working on right now could later become that. So facelift, no, I'm joking. But yeah, like other things are gonna surpass that eventually, but right now I think.
Yeah, that was a very loaded question. I'm sorry. because obviously it gave you a chance to, like you said, express yourself, as like
Yeah.
a queer individual and like showing the story. So I think that's great, and like hopefully like maybe it's set you off on the right path. Like I was true to myself, therefore it gives me the confidence to like continue to be like that and like not be afraid to like tell my story or stuff that like my experience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I answered your question.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I put it in
Yeah.
my such a import of my stuff. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that with you. Again, I can't stress this enough, and it's available to watch anywhere. Like if you're
It's on my
comfortable
YouTube
sharing.
channel. Yeah, which I'll plug later. I have a few other shorts on
Alright,
that. But yeah.
Go like this. Boop. All right, their YouTube channel will pop up right there. All right, well, thank you so much, Quinn, for showing that. All right, we're gonna move on to a different territory. So away from high school into college, correct? We're gonna be looking at 3 clips from your movie, Jackie. We're gonna break them down one by one. So you want to talk about the first clip before, and maybe talk a little bit about Jackie, the experience and whatnot?
Yeah, so of course Jackie was the second short film club short I got to work on, and I directed it. But what's different with short film club is that it'll give you a whole crew. And so this was the second because I had worked on Sedicate, but this was the first time I was directing like a whole crew. Which is obviously a little intimidating because I was like, whoa, okay, I have all these people here and I need to tell them to do stuff to make this work. Which one is first?
Morning After.
Oh, right. Okay, so I think the challenge at first with Short Film Club is you don't write the film you direct. It's gonna be the script writer is a different one. So it's actually one of my friends that I had met on the previous film, and that's why I chose Jackie because I saw he was the writer for it, and I was like, oh, I can work with him again.
Oh yeah, so they write the script.
So
the
yeah, he wrote the
gets
script, and
chosen
we did workshop the script a lot. We changed it a lot from where it originally was.
Nice.
But it's still someone else's story that I'm telling, so I feel like that's some pressure. But yeah, he came up with the idea, and it was really cool. It's it's based off a true story actually.
Spooky. Oh yeah, which we'll see. We'll see how like, oh man, that's kind of scary. Like once we see the clips.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the 2 characters. Like I guess like after their sort of like first date essentially or hangout.
Yeah,
like,
it's about this girl who's kind of obviously unhinged, and then the first clip is she finally gets to go. I guess it's kind of on a date with a dude, but it's just at his house, and he's just really he's there for something, but not what she wants, and so he's. Yeah, kind of kicking her out the morning after.
Yeah. All right, well, let's check out this morning after clip from Jackie. Let's see real quick.
Oh, good morning.
You're still
How are you
here?
doing? Oh.
Come on, I got things to do.
Well,
Let's go.
I made some breakfast.
No, that's okay.
Oh, you're not hungry?
No.
Okay, well, maybe we could go on a lunch date later?
Maybe.
Okay, bye. Love you. Yes. Oh. Oh my God.
Yeah, who was that at the end?
Yeah, it was me. Yeah.
Very familiar. Oh well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about this. I guess I'll start it off like, so 2 very talented actors. Yeah, I'll mention a third one. You and the, but yeah. So how are like just starting with them? How are you working with like? Well, Priscilla was a guest. We kind of talked about Jackie.
Yeah.
Cue episode plug here. Boop. Yeah, like what was your approach to working with? I guess like we'll start with Priscilla, this unhinged character. Yeah.
Priscilla was amazing to work with. She was really great. I think she immediately like was like, yeah, I can do Unhinged. Like, yeah, I'm gonna. And she's obviously a very experienced actress. And then with the dude Matthew, we cast him. I think the week we were gonna start filming.
Nice.
Like it was a very last second cast, and I don't know if he had acted before. He was only a model, but he still took direction really well and was really great to work with as well. Yeah.
Nice. And so was there rehearsal? And if so, what were the rehearsals like? Was it them going through lines, or were y'all like sitting down and talking about y'all's character, motivation, whatnot?
I think we had a read through at some point, but once you start filming, for Short Film Club, if you don't know how it works, you have a weekend to shoot.
Oh.
So we showed up on set, and every scene we had, I would have them do a run through, and I would walk them through it and figure out the blocking for it, because this was the first time we were in this, we were in the location. And then I would get with Logan, my DP, and we would talk and be like, okay, what shots were you imagining for this? Here's what I was thinking. Here's what you're thinking. Okay, cool. Let's set up. Let's do this shot.
Nice. And
That's kind of how we.
in the day of filming, how did you know you had like the shots, or like what? I mean, like, was there a bunch of like, well, coverage is a different thing. Were there multiple takes, or like was it sort of like they got it right away? Or
Yeah, obviously a lot of takes, but I mean, Logan also had his own shot list, and we were going off of that.
Shout out Logan.
Yeah, and so it was really with that. I think I can keep track of things really well in my brain while I'm on set with what we've shot, what we haven't covered, what we need to cover. So I kind of had a checklist in my brain, and I was like covering with that.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so how are you working with the crew? Because you said it's a full crew, and I guess
Yeah.
first, if I may ask, like, so do you recall like all the crew members you have, like the positions?
Oh yeah. I remember
so-
everyone who worked on me with
All right,
that.
so let's count like the crew positions you had. So you have a director.
A director, producer. Producer was sick, so he was.
Sorry, so we're back to two.
But he was there for part of it. We were filming at his house, so he was just taking a nap at his most of
oh,
it because he got really sick that weekend. I felt awful. But yeah, we had producer, director, DP, script writer, who he became our PA because our PAs kind of stopped showing up.
Oh, nice. So you had
Yeah,
the writer
so,
on the
you know, it
script
was fun.
supervisor. Nice.
But yeah, we had a script supervisor, AC, first AC, second AC,
Dang, nice.
lead audio, boom operator,
Ooh.
grip,
Golly.
gaffer and grip, 2 PAs I believe, and then I think that's
Dang.
yeah.
Man,
So it was like a 20%, almost 20% set.
yeah, I lost count, but it
Yeah,
was
okay.
well over 10.
Yeah.
Well, man, okay, so that's great. So, like, what is, again, handling that, and, getting the location? Like, I mean, again, and you're the director, like, it's your first thing. You have all these people, and it's like, man, you didn't even rehearse, you just sort of show up. Like, how are you guiding the crew? Are they coming to you with a bunch of questions, or are you sort of entrusting them to just do their thing? Like, how was that?
Yeah. I had an assistant director, of course, too. I'm sure I forgot positions.
my glasses
There are a
just,
lot
like,
of people
fall
on that set, but yeah, that was really nice. But yeah, mainly I managed. Producer was a really big help. He was there when he could be, and he was, obviously in charge of getting us the location, call sheets and everything,
Shout
and
out.
getting us food and everything. So that was all taken care of. So I really just had to focus on the creative part of it, which is what you should get to do as a director. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I just kind of did it.
Nice,
I don't know
okay.
how. I kind of showed up and I was like, this is what we need to get done. This is how we're going to get done. I was also in the back of my mind trying to make sure that everyone got to do something. Because obviously I don't want people sitting around, that makes me feel bad. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pressure I have too, where it's like, I want everybody to have a good time. Like, bro, you're already eating the chips,
Yeah.
the drinks. It's like, we're making a movie. Well,
Yeah.
that's cool. And if I may ask, like, with regards to the performers, we saw it slightly in this clip, but, there's some, and with the whole piece, there's some, like, I guess, like, intimacy, right? I guess, like, a little more, like, so how did y'all coordinate that? Because, again, I mean, setting the sort of, where we are, it's a student film, college. But yeah, I mean, could you tell about that? Tell
Yeah,
us about
I
that.
mean, obviously we cut it so there wasn't any real intimacy shots that we had to do. I don't think they ever had to kiss or anything. They got close, but yeah. It was really just, I did feel bad because it's college film obviously, but I kept just checking in and being like, hey, are you comfortable with this? Hey, are you okay with this?
That's good.
This is what is going to happen in the script. Are you good with that? Okay. And I really, I was pretty hands off the first time I had them run through it. And then I'd be like, okay, I need you to walk here. I need you to walk here. But I mean, they were pretty easy. They're pretty great to work with,
Yeah,
actors wise.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I just need to like ask that cereal thing. Whose sick idea was
That
that?
was my idea.
Oh.
So through the whole thing, especially, I was thinking of little ways of how we can tell the audience Jackie isn't right in the head.
Yeah.
And
Anybody
it's
who
a bit
does
of
that,
a
like,
joke, but I was like, what if for milk for the cereal? Like, that's something a weird person does. And she does other weird things throughout the movie where you're like, why is she doing that?
Yeah.
But the whole point is like she's,
Yeah.
it's leading up to what the ending is going to be. So yeah.
Yeah, which we'll get to that. But I mean, to sing your praises on that, like little, film being a visual medium. I know we're kind of like joking at it, but like on its own, like that is a very effective image, like, with the milk pouring all over, because it's like you immediately get, you don't need any dialogue. That's pure
Yeah.
dare I say, that's pure cinema because you get the uncomfortable audio and the visual, and it's like, oh, this is an unhinged character. Something's not out there, so that's great. And well, awesome, dude. Well, any last comments on this clip before we move on to the next one?
Not really. I feel like I didn't know they were gonna go all the way to the clip with me, in it. That part, because we lost a lot of the footage. Like we had a lot more clips of me, so it made more sense. The idea was it was two girls leaving like a night out,
Like a parallel.
like it was like 2 walks of shame, and like my character was a normal like, kind of upset, whatever, like hungover. And her character was like super happy and being weird.
Nice contrast.
And my character was just like, what is wrong with you? That was that look. And I feel like I don't know how well it read because we didn't get all the shots we originally had, but yeah.
Nice. Well, I thought it was very humorous. And well, let me see. Yeah, I'll ask this question for the next clip. Well, thank you so much for that. Great. And well, I think we're going to move on to the next clip, which the full fight, as I labeled the clip. Before we show it, do you want to preface the audience with some information about it?
Yeah, so this is, as we were talking about, Jackie is unhinged in this. She becomes very obsessed with him, and to the point where she ends up breaking into his house. So this is when he comes home and finds her in his house.
That's all right. Well, let's check out this spooky clip from Jackie. Oh, let's see this fight.
Hey, babe. How are you?
Whoa, what the fuck are you doing here?
What do you mean?
This is my house. What are you doing?
Where's that girl?
That girl? Have you been watching me?
I'm just looking out for us.
Oh my god.
Okay, we're family.
There is no us. What the fuck is this? How did you even get in?
There's no us because you ruined it. We could have been a family, had kids, been happy, but no, you just had to cheat on me.
Jackie.
What?
We were never a thing, all right? You were our one-night stand. That's it. And I don't understand how you can't see that. And to think that you would think that I actually want a family?
No. I knew it was about sex, okay? I already knew that. You think I didn't know that? Huh? It's all you talk about, okay? Yeah, my bedroom's upstairs and a wife has to please her husband. Just shut the fuck up and love me. Can you
Jackie,
do that?
No.
Please?
Jackie, you broke into my
please.
house.
No.
Jackie,
It's our
you're
house.
insane.
I love you,
got
though.
it. And what the fuck are you doing in my shirt?
I'm just trying to save us. Someone has to, right? It's always gonna be about sex, right? It's all it really is. I'm the only one that has to put in the effort. I'm the only one that does it right.
Jackie, you don't do anything right. You always leave shit everywhere when you try to clean. You talk about kids on the first date. Not even the sex was that good.
That's not true.
That is true.
No. Don't you say that.
It's true. Alright?
Well then,
No,
wait.
Jackie,
Just give me a
Jackie,
second
stop.
chance.
Stop.
Yes, man. Shh.
Stop.
Why don't you give me a second chance, I could be really good. So good. Yeah? We're gonna have so much fun.
Fuck him up. Awesome clip, dude. So much to unravel on this. The first thing I want to notice, that you kind of notice upon, is the handheld stuff. Was that a result of like y'all just didn't have like tripods, or was that like
No, that was a choice.
Yeah. I think a very strong choice, by the way, because of like the atmosphere, like the emotion of the scene. Like, so yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, no, those are actually full takes we did. So we did it obviously multiple times, but like full through for close up of Jackie and then full through for Matthew.
Nice.
So those were the hardest shots, hands down, we had to get for this film. But yeah, obviously we wanted. I think it was Logan's idea, probably, because he was in charge of tracking all that, and I was like, yes, definitely, we should do handheld for this. I was a little hesitant because it's the whole thing. Like that's a long scene.
Yeah.
That was hard because we had to have at least him and the audio and boom out there following him around and not getting in any of the shots. The rest of the crew that was there, I'm actually for part of it outside, and for the other part of it in that little like it's a bathroom, but the little thing that looks like closet under the stairs. Yeah, I'm just sitting in there like waiting for it to waiting for them to go so I can say cut or like
SpongeBob memory, a little cup of tea, just like
yeah, because it was just we show so much and we just had to like clear the downstairs out, make everything like clear, and just we got the shots and
nice.
It's great. It's definitely like the thing I'm most proud of about this short.
Really great. And so was that a whole bunch of, again, because she comes downstairs, goes in the kitchen, they're arguing there, and then they come back out, or come back to like the front door, and then they go upstairs. Is that all? Was that movement in the script, like, okay, they're gonna come downstairs, or was that like all stuff that you ought to block out?
So she always had to come downstairs because he comes in and his lights are on and his oven's on because she's making food for him, and he's like, what is going on? So that's what you see in the beginning. But after that, we had to block it out. And I blocked it out with the characters beforehand. And then when they felt comfortable and they felt ready, I was like, okay, Logan, it's you.
Nice.
I'm going to go hide in this closet. Tell me when the shot's
like
over, and I'll
Rocky
come out and watch it, and then we'll probably do it again.
No,
Yeah.
That's absolutely great. And something else I wanted to like bring up was like the use of music. And it, who was that part of SFC2, or how did y'all get?
So we originally had a composer, but that composer, I did have a meeting with them, but then they dropped and never made the music. So
That was a little tense.
that was just something our editor found.
I thought it worked.
Yeah,
it was
I mean,
a nice,
it worked,
it's a
yeah.
nice contrast to that. And I want to talk about like some of the lines, because it's all this arguing, and then it builds up to the sort of like the sex wasn't even that good. Oh, and it's this big thing. And I want to ask, like, you interpreting the script, like how. In the script, was it all built up to that line? Was that something you as a director, you were telling them, like, deliver your line like this so we can build here? And like, how was that, like, you extracting the dialogue and making it into like their actual words that they speak?
I think working with the actor who played Matthew, because he wasn't as experienced as Priscilla.
I would have never guessed that. He's pretty good in it.
Oh no, he did an amazing job. But I definitely had to direct him a little bit more because he just like if acting is something you have to work on. And I just said, like, you got to be intense here. Like, you come in and this girl's broken into your house like that. You need to freak out about that.
Yeah.
And then you're just saying everything to get her until you're finally like, okay, whatever. Because we did want to make Matthew's character not someone you liked. That was very purposeful. As we said, we need to relate to Jackie at least a little bit. Like, he does need to be
like
kind of an
sympathize with her
a-hole,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Nice. And I want to ask, during that great back and forth where, they're just kind of arguing, fighting there, actually, was any of that dialogue ad-libbed or improvised, or was that all like scripted?
Yeah, I think most of it was scripted. I'm always kind of a loose script person. I'm like, as long as you're saying it the right way, if you think your character would say it a little bit differently, please do that.
Nice.
As long as I think it works. But yeah, so it was pretty much all scripted, but otherwise, Nice.
In that case, so them kind of like changing, like between takes, like was there like a substantial difference than what we see, like is, sometimes like maybe like big or little, and then you combine in the editing room to like create like a new sort of unique thing that combines all of that. Were there any takes that were like drastically different or anything that,
Mostly for those, because it was like we filmed these at the end of one night, and we were like, okay, we get this done and then we get out of here. But they're really hard takes,
Yeah.
So it was mostly just repeating it many, many, many times, because it was like, oh, you got boom in this one shot, you got the person pulling focus in this other one, or the person pulling focus couldn't get it right in this other one, or audio in this one, or reflection in this one,
Yeah.
So it was pulling everything.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So do multiple takes
Just
because
doing
like
it over and over
technical
again
things.
until it was perfect.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
How many? So it was just one weekend? So like 2 days?
Yeah, we have Friday too.
Okay, 3
Friday,
days.
Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And at what point in filming was this? Was this like the first, second, or third day?
I believe this was Saturday, so second day.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And just curious, like with breaking down the script and scheduling it, was there any like, was that intentional in any way? Because like, I want to have the fight scene after y'all been developed more of a chemistry. Was that the placement of the scenes, was that, or was it more of a matter of like, this is when we're able to do?
Vaguely, it was mainly when we were able to do it, and what we needed daylight for and what we didn't. When we were planning out when we were going to shoot stuff. And I did shoot relatively linear, just because some of the things you need makeup for, and you want that all shot at the same kind of time, so she looks similar, and so it takes less time with doing your makeup.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And one last thing, and then we'll move on to the final clip of Jackie. Just the little things, I like to say, I mean, was any of that like stuff like, decorated like from y'all personally, like, with all the like, were they posters or vinyls on the wall, like just like that, and, her wardrobe, like where was, because, those are little things that like maybe filmmakers who haven't made films, they fail to think like, someone asks like, what do you want on the wall? What? Or like, what do you want them to wear? What? Like, you don't really think about that until the day of. So yeah, how was that?
So set, we really just had the apartment of our producer. That was the
Shout
set.
out
It was
producer,
just
man.
already decorated like that. He said he even liked the stuff on the wall. He moved in and it was like that, so he kept it.
Okay, nice.
So that was that. But yeah, we did also have a production designer, costume and makeup artist on set too.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So we did have, I did have that help as well to figure out costuming and stuff. And it was more just like checking in. I was like, okay, what do you have for this vision? Cool. Yeah, that works. Or, oh, I was thinking this instead. Or,
Okay,
yeah.
nice. Well, awesome. Well, great clip. And again, a very strong clip, I may add, because, I know sometimes when people bring their work, they can be a little like discouraged or like just like, but again, I think there's always something great, and like I'm pretty sure anybody can watch and like see that there's talent both in front and behind the camera. So awesome stuff. And well, we're gonna be on to our last clip now. Spoilers, I guess, for Jackie. But this club is called, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So this is, I believe, the last shot in the film entirely. Yeah. It's kind of what happens after Jackie convinces him to go, give it one more shot.
All right, well, let's see what this good time entailed in Jackie. Let's check this out right quick. R.I.P. homeboy. Okay, well, so much for that. So, I mean, I think the most prominent thing that take away from this is the makeup, the use of makeup. Like, how was that process? Did y'all have to like, how much time did y'all have to like devote to like doing the makeup before y'all filmed?
Yeah, so luckily, again, I had a whole crew. So my production design team took care, was in charge of getting the makeup for it, the special effects, figuring it out, getting the edible blood for her to be able to do that.
Oh, what kind of, was it just like?
We had non-edible blood and edible blood.
Okay.
I don't know. You can ask them how they make it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice.
But yeah, with prop master and everything, and our makeup artist, Jamie actually was our makeup artist.
Shout out, Jamie.
And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then more about it. Yes, so the blood and all that. So okay, thank goodness it was edible blood. That's good. But yeah, well, I mean, just like the little things about it, we as viewers take for granted, or I think we fail to realize the sort of hardships that actors have to go through. Like a dude is in pants, sitting in a bathtub, like being filled with water, and like just, I don't know, just tell me about that. Is it like, I mean, that's, just how was that?
No, I mean, obviously we did that shoot last for him, because if you've ever worked with fake blood, it stains everywhere.
Yeah, and it's sticky.
Stains, it's sticky, it's uncomfortable. So we were like, okay. So after that, we were like, okay, go home for him. But yeah, no, it was like, I'm sorry, we're gonna have you be in a bathtub with fake blood.
Nice.
But it kind of worked out because in the original story that is based off of the Jacqueline, or the Jackie who was the real person that it's based off of, she never actually got to her, I guess, would-be victim. She just sent texts, and she was like talking about, one of them was how she wanted to bathe in his blood.
Okay.
So that was something that Santiago, the writer, was really wanting to do.
Interpret it, yeah.
So, that's why the ending scene is, she's bathing with his blood.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, that's
Yeah.
great. So just so quick little thing. So it's inspired by a story of a relationship that was essentially like that, like a woman became obsessed with the guy sort of thing?
Yeah, so it's someone who I think took place in Arizona. You can find, if you Google like Jackie 3000 something texts or something like that, or threatened, yeah. You can find the article about it. But yeah,
Google that at your like
yeah, do
viewer
your
discretion
discretion.
advisement.
Yeah, she just went on a date with this dude, and after that started sending a bunch of texts.
Nice.
And he reported to the police and is fine when she got arrested. But
Nice.
yeah.
Then y'all take it and like kind of make it bigger, more cinematic and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. And so, tell me about like that very last shot, that very unnerving shot of Priscilla. Shout out Priscilla,
Yeah.
man, she's killing that. I just want to ask, like, is Matthew the character or the actor? Like, is Matthew the name of the character?
Matthew's the character.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so is the actor portraying Matthew? Is he in that shot? Is he in the bathtub? Is he already home at that point? Is it just like y'all like?
No,
how?
we let him get out after.
Okay,
We got
nice.
the shots of him, and then when we got the close-up, because we had to have Logan in the bathtub holding the camera, so we had to rotate that out. So yeah, that's just Priscilla's amazing acting.
Okay, nice.
But yeah.
And what's great because maybe I have to rewatch it to confirm, but like so most of the film is like handheld, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then that one's sort of like static, right, or stationary for the most
I mean,
part.
he's handholding it.
Yeah, it's pretty
really good
stable.
at
It looks
handhelling,
like
yeah.
so it's a great little contrast building to that. And I mean, was that the way it ends? Was that always like in your mind, like the final shot, just her looking directly into the camera? Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty epic.
Yeah.
And how are you directing her with that? Is it? I mean, at that.
Yeah.
Well, first off, what day of filming was this? If you recall.
I think it was almost the last day because we had to
Okay.
do the fake blood last.
Okay, nice. And so how
We had
are,
a few things after we shot after, but
Okay, nice. And how are you guiding her towards this and whatnot?
yeah, pretty much it was like, okay, you've done your, like, you've completed your, as a character, you've completed that arc.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Nice.
look crazy. I kind of told her like Joker moment.
Yeah,
You know, it's your villain moment. It's
Does
your
the smile.
yeah, it's like your peak, like almost like we almost talked about it like this was like almost like a serial killer's origin story.
Nice.
So yeah.
I think, and what's great too is like her face evolves from like glee, and then it becomes very like dark and like extremely unnerving. Well, first off, again, I mean, the audience at home probably won't see this, but when Priscilla tastes the blood, like I just audibly gagged and whatnot. But yeah, and just more about like the script, and we can just kind of talk about that. You said it went through like the revisions and whatnot. What do you feel like you, the director, you know, like this is a Quinn film, you know, it's someone else's, like, you know, it'd be different in someone else's like hands. What do you feel like you brought to this that was like unique to you? Like that would have differed from like, you know, if like I directed or someone else, like.
I don't know. I'm not.
I
really
know that's
sure.
a pretty big question.
That is a big question. I think something I was really worried about was portraying mental health wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have parents who are social workers, like I said before, and I have parents who work in mental health field.
There
So
you go, yeah.
touching things like that, I know their opinions about it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm gonna stay more fictional. So I was really trying to keep away from any sort of like, I didn't want people like trying to diagnose her with anything. It's just like, oh, she's just an unhinged character, you know, who, you know, is a murder.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of that perspective, because that was something I was very much on my mind when making the script, when revising the script and shooting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really great. And again, it circles back to what we were talking at the start, you know, like, you don't necessarily have to have a film background. I mean, your parents having social work or whatever like that, but like that's unique to you, and it's like helping in the film. And I think that's a very great way, you know, it's a very empathetic. I find that very admirable that, you know, you want to portray it in a certain way. And yeah, so I'm just curious. So did he always die in like every draft of the script?
Oh yeah, he was dead.
That was the one thing I was going to say. He was always dead.
Matthew is gonna be dead. In the first draft, he was a lot nicer. And then we were like, no, let's just make him unlikable.
Worse.
Like everyone hates him. Like almost so when you're cheering when he like gets it. You
It's
know.
one of those things where like you're kind of cheering, but then it like you see how like she like killed him. You're like, oh, I kind of feel bad that I was rooting for this. I'm the guilt. She's looking at us and she is judging us. It's so great. Well, yeah. So Jackie. So yeah. Overall, how was the experience, and how did it shape you as a filmmaker?
Yeah.
Obviously, your first experience, a huge undertaking, a career of 20, which again, like shout out to SFC for, you know, being able to give people that opportunity, I think that's really special and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think I asked the question. Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, I know. It was definitely an amazing experience. I loved my crew. I think just one of the best crew I could ask for that project. It was a great learning experience, obviously. I had to learn how to. It was I've led in group projects, but never like that with that many people, and in a creative aspect like that. So that was a great experience. It was great to learn how to do that. I got to learn kind of who I am as a director, because I know who I am as a filmmaker when I'm doing everything, but I didn't know who I was as a director when it's my creativity is in the lead, and I still I think that's when I learned, this is very much is not a one person thing. I want to pull from everyone because it makes it so much better when I'm asking everyone their ideas.
Yeah, and again, huge shout out just for having something to like show, like movies can. There's a filmmaker who says like just like completing a movie is like sort of a miracle unto itself because so much stuff goes right. So
much went wrong. We had to reshoot part of it. There was a lot, but yeah.
Hey, y'all did it. You'd never worked a crew before. You did it. You never like directed versa. You did it. So hey, shout out, big props to you. And so just the animation and this, it's so great. And I mean, so clearly, more experience. And I can't wait to see what's in store for you. And is there anything you want to plug? Anything you're working on that you're gonna work on that you want to sort of?
I mean, obviously I have my YouTube channel, which we talked to. Yeah. Nice. That's where I think I only have like a couple things up there. But if you want to watch other stuff that I've made, and things that I will make and continue to make for class. I'm working. I'm really excited. I'm getting, like I said, more into acting. So I'm acting on one of my acquaintances projects coming up, and I'm gonna be an extra on an NTTV show for this next episode, and obviously Facelift is coming up, so that's
Facelift. We'll have an entire episode dedicated to that.
I don't know if I can drop what I'm doing on that, but
hey, go ahead.
I'm hoping to DP Facelift, so I'm a cinematographer, and
I'm gonna censor
really
me doing that on one page, throwing up gang signs. Awesome. Well, I can't wait for her, man. I'm very glad we got to meet her. Whatever. Very talented. I can't wait to work with you in the future, just see what you do. So thank you so much. And I think that's gonna wrap up today. Any closing statements to the audience at home?
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I respect that, dude. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for watching, y'all. This is episode 14. Once again, their name is Quinn. Check them out, and we'll see you guys next time. Boop. You're amazing, dude. Great.